On this week's show, M&M announced the road to E3 and a lower price starter pack. All this and more on episode 45 of the Inside Infinity podcast.
All who come to this happy place, welcome.
We have often been asked, where do we get the ideas for our stories?
We really start with a blank sheet of paper.
I think that's what Infinity gives you, is the ability to be creative in a way that no one's ever seen before.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 45 of the Inside Infinity podcast, recorded on June 2nd, 2014. As always, I am Will, one of your two co-hosts, or one of your two hosts for this show. With me, as always, I have Jason Haynes. Jason, how are you doing tonight?
G'day, Will. G'day, listeners. I'm doing all right, considering I've had 2 more fillings over this week, and so if my mouth starts hurting from talking, I will just leave.
Don't do that. Well, we also have our good friend Steve Krellin with us tonight, longtime listener, longtime friend of the show. Steve, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great, having a lot of technical problems, and I apologize if I come in and out right in the middle of me saying something brilliant, witty, and completely relevant to what we're talking about. But thanks for having me back, guys.
Well, you know what? We are so happy to have you, and it's okay. If you drop out, that is perfectly fine. You'll just pop right back in, and we'll be waiting for you on bated breath. But look at that. The chat room is already, like, screaming your name. They're so happy to see you.
I also see that I Like Turtles and I Like Turtles 2 is in the room tonight. I think that things are getting really interesting, and I love the chat. It's really distracting having both up at the same time because I like to pay attention to what's going on here, yet I can't not. See? Someone put Outside Infinity. It's back.
That didn't take long. Well, you are exactly right. Having the chat there is a good thing, and it's not completely a distraction. It adds a lot to the show, and we want to say hello to everyone. There's way too many names to list on tonight's show, but just know that we are happy to see you and glad that you are here enjoying the show with us. If you want to chat and watch us live, you can do that every Monday evening at DisneyInfinity.tv, recorded every Monday evening at 8 p.m., and you can there's a chat room there. You can watch and just join the show. So thank you, everyone, for joining, and welcome. If you want to reach out to the show, you can do that. Just drop us a line at info@DisneyInfinity.tv, and we'd be more than happy. If you have feedback or questions for the show, we will answer it live on air. This show, along with every show, is always brought to you in partnership with the Disney Infinity Fans Forum. That is DisneyInfinityFans.com. The number one place for your forum and Disney Infinity community. You can find lots of good info there. You can chat, trade, learn all the news and rumors, so make sure you check them out. All right, gents, with that, I think we will go ahead and get things started. How does that sound?
Let's go.
Awesome, awesome. So the first item on the news for tonight, well, it's actually a rumor. So there's a rumor that happened this last week that we will be seeing a second starter pack, and Toys R Us listed a second starter pack for the right price of $60. So I wanted to ask you guys this. I'm going to throw this question to you first, Steve. So it's just because it's been a while, and I want to hear your thoughts. So, you know, I know you probably are up to the news of the Marvel Superheroes playset, but that playset, as far as we know at this point, it comes with a base station and the figures, so you're going to presume that's going to be $75. So what do you think? Do you think what could be the $60 playset? Could it be the Marvel Superheroes without a base, or could you see this as being maybe a Disney playset that doesn't include the base?
Well, it's going to be something. It's got to be baseless, because if you think about the idea of having 2 different bases that you're always having to swap out, I don't think that you're going to get that, right? There's no way that they're going to require people to constantly change a giant platform in front of their TV every single time. So, and that extra $15, is that what it is, right? 60 to 75, is that $15 is probably the cost of that base, and it's got to be a baseless unit, like you just said. Mostly just because it'd be ridiculous to have two different bases on there. No one has room, and if you're keeping DI1, the Marvel one, and this one, no one has room for that. So I think that you're going to have one base.
Well, and they've said that the original base is going to be forwards compatible, so it would totally make sense that that extra $15 is the price of that base. I guess the question is, what content is included in that? And you know, a lot of people are still kind of concerned about the Disney part of Disney Infinity for 2.0. And we got a little news about that this week, but I guess my gut reaction to this is that it's probably going to be the Marvel Superheroes playset or starter pack just without the base, because that would make sense, especially if it has the same release date. You know, giving the two options where they're identical except for one doesn't have the base because you already had that from one.
So in your idea, there's going to be a new base, period, right? There will be with the next one, right? So now you're having two, the one from one, you're not going to use the one from one anymore then. You're saying forward compatible?
No, it is. So so I guess you could look at it like Disney Infinity 2.0 is backwards compatible with the one base. So yeah, you will be able to use that same base.
So now, do you think that you'll be able to, I mean, the bases, I don't really understand the technology behind how they actually work as well as you guys do. Will you be able to switch out the characters on different bases and have it work? And if so, will you, what is actually inside the base? Because to the best of my knowledge, when I'm out there and you put the different little character thing on the top, like if I want to play Cars, I don't have a new base for the Cars. I have the little clear thing that looks like the cup, right? And you put that on there, and then that's what changes the game. That's not going to change, right? I mean, a new base doesn't mean a new base program of the game. It just means it's where you literally put the characters, and it's the reader that reads the RFID or whatever the hell that thing is in each of the little codes, right?
Right. Well, but you know how you have the actual game disc for one. So the RFID basically reads it and says, "Hey, go find this on the disc."
Right.
So the base, I expect it to look identical, with the exception of it maybe have some 2.0 or Marvel superhero branding on it. But as far as the way it looks now and the spots for the play pieces and the figures, that's going to be probably identical.
I think that you're right, and I think it'll say 2.0 for sure. You don't want to make it look just like, hey, this is just the Marvel one, but to play it, you have to get the Marvel set, so it will be on there, right?
Well, which will be that. So I think it's going to include, the starter pack is going to include the 3 figures, the playset piece, the base, and the actual game disc. And the $60 starter pack is going to include all of that except for the base. So you're going to have the game disc, you're going to have the playset piece. It's just going to be baseless.
So you're talking,
and the base, it still works with figures and power disc and stuff. So the actual the holes for the pieces are going to be the same as well. Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I expect it to be identical with the exception of a different print on there because they already made them.
Which is, and you can even buy those skins for them now, right? So pretty much it's going to be, in my theory, it's the exact same thing, just slightly different. Now, I was going to ask you this before. Do you think that they're going to have one with more than 2 players ever, or do you think that that's going to be the extent of it?
You're raising a great question. So Jason, what do you, if you bought the starter, the $75, assuming that's the price of the 2.0 starter pack, and it's the Marvel Superhero starter pack, are you going to be able to put both bases connected to your system and play 4-player split screen with having those 4 bases?
I think that'd be a really great inclusion to have. I can't see. I mean, I guess it depends because, like, for instance, you look at the new toy box. What are they calling them now? Those play experiences. The dungeon crawler. Anyway, that'd be really cool if you could have a 4-player, offline experience using 2 Infinity bases. There, I wouldn't see it work like. I can't see them having a split screen. Old school GoldenEye Mario Kart style situation where you can have four people on screen at once. I think that would be a little bit too taxing, possibly on the hardware. But if for specific games like the top-down dungeon crawler, I think that'd be really cool to have that feature.
I was thinking about that GoldenEye thing too. I was watching that the other day, and it brought me back to my early high school. I was addicted to that game. Was the 4-player screen not the greatest thing ever? And I was thinking about how great it would be, but I agree, you could never build a toy box with 4 people. It would be a physical impossibility. Your system would just explode, right? You can barely do it with 2.
It's more just the limitation of the screen size when you've got 4 people on screen. It's just, I mean, I guess it's not that bad these days with big TVs. But
I completely think it's possible, even with current hardware. So the 360 and PS3, I would think that it would have the power to do the 4-player split screen with that, and so that. But who knows? It could also be just a next-gen feature, because I know the next-gen consoles would have that ability. But this is a great question, and one I haven't thought of, because this is also, there's lots of families out there with more than 2 kids, or you're a dad and you want to play with your kids. Well, there's 3-player split screen you would need right there, and this would also incentivize you purchasing another full starter pack and having a use for it other than just a spare base station in case you.
I think the bigger story here is, if you've got a starter set without the base, what an incredible value that is. If you're getting a full next-gen game, which would normally cost you $60 anyway, you're getting, as a bonus, you're getting 3 high-quality collectible figures that retail, in this country at least, let's call it $15. So that's an incredibly cheap next-gen game.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and you get some collectibles there.
Exactly. I think that's really cool if that's the case.
And if you think about it, you just kind of blew my mind, because I didn't think about the pricing. That's a really good point. If you look at the starter pack in a next-gen system, it's still only $75. That has to be like one of the greatest pricing plans ever, because that box is huge, and the stuff that you get in it is $15 more than a regular game, and it's like, that is amazing. That's a really, really great thing, and you just blew my mind. If you're getting a $60 one, like, what was that game that just came out last week I just bought? It's Watch Dogs or whatever, and they're all $60. Everything is $60. You're getting all that other stuff too. I think it's a really great strategy, because they could really make that 65 or 70 and cover that a little bit, but they're not, and it's really smart. I think it's cool.
Yeah. Well, totally, I completely agree with you. I mean, I do think some people may disagree, but Disney Infinity is one of the best values in gaming, because you get so much with it. You not only get the gaming piece of it, but you also get these collectibles.
That's a good point. Up front to play the game, like the minimal play, then yeah, sure, it really is. But when you get into it like we do, then it clearly becomes not so much. So they clearly make it up on the back end. That's a good point.
And Steve, I didn't think about it until just a moment ago, but you can actually play and build 4-player online right now in the toy box. So
that's true, online.
Yeah. So, and it would only be easier, I think. Well, it is more taxing on the system, but that's interesting.
I was thinking the GoldenEye thing, though. Jason stole my thought. I was thinking what GoldenEye would look like. I would love 4 people in Incredibles land. Playing that game, it would have been sweet. So that's what I was thinking.
Well, and I know Pirate would love to have like a Super Smash Brothers, like 4-player brawl, all on his home system.
Let's be honest, if Pirate had a 4-player thing, he'd be getting all of the super creator box people in his house, and they'd be building this ultimate box 4-person at a time. It would be great.
Yeah, and then what he would do is he would send us pictures, and he would send the show pictures. Hey guys, look what I did all by myself.
He would absolutely take credit for it.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, we'll see about that. Again, that's just a rumor. That's just something that kind of popped up on Toys R Us, and it hasn't been confirmed yet. It's as confirmed as anything else we see early listed. So that's the only rumor we got this week, but we do have a little bit of news. Jason, do we have any news from around the world this week?
Well, we've got a little bit of a news for Australia today. I found out there's some official books coming out in this country. they're all sort of, what's the word? They're like sticker books and stuff like that. I guess similar content to the UK magazine. Still no word on whether we're getting that official Disney Infinity magazine, but there's a few key books here on this website that we're showing at the moment. One of the biggest ones, and maybe you can tell me, what is technically an annual? There's a thing called a Disney Infinity Official Annual 2015 listed here, and to be honest, I hear about annuals all the time, but I'm not technically sure what they actually are. Have you got any idea?
Well, it could be like I'm interested to hear what the chat room thinks about this, but it could be something along the lines of like not like an encyclopedia, like a database, a physical database of all the figures.
It's hardback, which is cool, so it sounds like it's be kind of collectible.
Mm-hmm.
But the only other one would have been there's a Disney Infinity the Essential Guide, and then there's a Disney Infinity the Official Guide. Now I'm not sure if that Official Guide is the same as I believe there was a Prima Infinity Guide. I'm not sure whether that was an official guide or not, but obviously it's been some time. But nonetheless, if you're looking for something like that, then I imagine you'll be able to find those in your local bookstore if you can find one.
Yeah, it looks like there's some that have already been released. Like this sticker one, it looks like it was released in April. The next one maybe in October. I don't know. Am I reading those dates right, Jason?
Yes, the month is the second digit.
Cool. So that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if that is similar to the UK magazines.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, but it's cool nonetheless. My kids love stickers, so putting them on my walls. So I probably won't be getting them.
Some brownie points. Some dad brownie points.
Yep. So I'll keep an eye out for them. If I see them in store, then I'll perhaps give a review if any of them are worth hunting down.
Cool. Well, yeah, let us know about that, Jason. Keep us up to date. So the other news, Disney Infinity TV is having a presence next week at E3. I can't believe we're already at E3. Looks like we're going to have some playtime with the game. Not only that, but also with, what is it? The Fantasia game, the music game. So we will definitely be giving our impressions and video of all of that, but hopefully we're going to have a couple interviews with that. But if you're not able to go to E3, make sure you check out the YouTube channel, but also Twitch.tv. They will be broadcasting a lot of stuff from E3 this year, presentations, but then a lot of gameplay stuff. And on June 12th, next Thursday at 3:20 Pacific time, Twitch is actually doing a broadcast of all the title says is Disney Infinity 2.0 Marvel Superheroes presented by Disney Interactive. So who knows what they're going to show off. It's a 20-minute time slot, so it can't be that in-depth. I doubt it's going to be an announcement or anything like that, but hopefully we'll be able to get to see some live gameplay of that. So that's kind of cool. Make sure you check out twitch.tv next Thursday at 3:20 Pacific time. Cool. Next up on the list, gentlemen, I know that the three of us actually went and saw the new Maleficent movie, and although this isn't our spoiler cast, with the movie they announced 2 new Disney characters. So for 2.0, which was pretty exciting, we finally got some news on Disney figures. So Merida and Maleficent were officially announced, and yeah, so they're coming to Disney Infinity too. So, Steve, I got to throw this your way because you are.
I have a very passionate response about this too. I'm very excited.
Oh no, I'm worried.
Oh, don't be worried. It's all positive.
Okay, what's your very passionate response?
I think that Merida is the most flawlessly designed Infinity character we've seen yet. I am telling you, when that first picture came out, I was stunned. The colors, her pose, the stand. The way that she's shaped, the way that they updated it, she will be my favorite character without question. I was blown away at how great she looked. Honestly, Maleficent, I could give or take. She is my favorite Disney, one of my favorite characters of all time. She's okay. It's cool. I like it. They have to put some tie-in with the movie, and they did a good job of making it look more movie style instead of the other one. But this Merida thing has blown my mind. was hoping that they were going to do this, especially because what's our buddy's name? I forgot. TJ and Julie from Pixar Post. They've been talking about it for so long, and I think they nailed it. And the way that they made it look here is just completely stunning. That's the only way I can put it. Is I'm very excited. It's going to be my favorite character without question. Yeah, there it is. They picked the right dress for her to wear. The colors are beautiful. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, and it's just detailed again. Like, look at her hair. How awesome
exactly
is that?
Exactly.
Like they really did. So what you're saying, it really like embodies the character, right? And that's kind of what we're always looking for is the embodiment of those characters when they release these figures.
Absolutely. And let's do some Steve Krellin trivia. Well, what's my favorite part about the characters? I want to see if you know. Come on. I've talked about it multiple times.
Which characters?
Any of them.
Oh, Disney Infinity. Oh, crap.
See, I know you don't know me. You don't even like me. I can tell. You take what I say and you discount it. The voices, and I love the voices the things that they say. I cannot wait to see what they have her do because she's adorable in the film. You know, she says witty, cute things. Her accent is completely just levels me. So I think that it's going to be the greatest, and I'm very excited. But you nailed it. Her hair and the detail and the shape of her and everything like that completely embodies the character.
And Steve, tell us what the little blue thing is in front of her. Doesn't she follow those into the forest or something?
That's the wisp, my friend. Yes, and how great is it that they added that to it too, and that little translucent blue. I mean, it's just the whole thing, and the fact that they added that to the base is, it's great. It's so much better than just her standing on grass or, you know, the Incredibles ones, it's the concrete that's cracked and stuff like that, and they all sort of relevant to the thing. The fact that they added that to it too is just, it blows me away. I was excited for DI2 clearly since, you know, they announced it, but this just completely got me all hot and bothered. I'm very excited about this character. I may get two. I don't know why, but I may just get two. One to play with and then one to also play with. I don't know. I'm very excited.
And I would have to say that I think they really showed up some of the Marvel characters. Her moveset that they displayed in that trailer was amazing. Like, it made Hawkeye look like a stand and shoot guy. I mean, she was just amazing with her moves.
Well, you know, the other thing too, it's so interesting, is do you remember a year and a half ago when they brought Merida over and they made her a Disney princess, and what the controversy was is they changed her too much, and there was a small uproar. The former director of the film was outraged by how they changed it, and they made her not look too much like a you know, family, whatever, and it was like a big controversy. I think that the Disney Infinity people did it the Disney Infinity way, and they just nailed it. I mean, it is so perfect, and I'm so excited. I mean, I can't even tell you how excited I am. Her dress is so big and puffy when she's walking around, and it's exciting. And they did it the right way. This is exactly what I was hoping for, and more. So
now, Jason, I know you and I were a fan of the Maleficent figure as well, which they showed off in action with that trailer with Merida. And that trailer was pretty interesting. They kind of had this battle between the two of them, and it was an interesting way of it. Not only obviously showed off the characters and kind of their skill sets and their abilities, but also, you know, the whole idea reinforcing. And Jason, you actually brought this up. I don't want to seem like I thought of this, but you brought up the fact that, you know, they're really trying to enforce, like, yeah, you can have these adventures and you can create your own adventures in the toy box, and it just really reinforced that fact.
Yeah, definitely. It really was an excellent demonstration of childlike play, classic. You know, the villain versus the hero, and it's just, you know, that's exactly what you do with the He-Man figures. I've said it a million times before. Like, you know, you put the villain on top of the castle, and then you ride the hero on the horse, and, you know, invent the story as you go. I think that's, you know, it embodies everything that Infinity is all about.
So Joe in the chat room, Steve, you're going to get a kick out of this, but Joe in the chat room says her backflip off the horse while shooting a bow at a bad guy. He said, laughing out loud, best part of Disney Infinity 2.0.
I think it's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Come on, she's going to be great.
She's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. Like, it's so funny because we all have our favorite figures, right? And sometimes that changes when we actually get new figures in our hands. And yeah, Merida, both of these figures actually are like, oh no, I don't know what spot in my kind of hierarchy of favorites are they going to kick off. And that's the same for actually some of the Marvel figures as well.
Did any of the Marvel figures really strike you as being like a really, really great, like you can't wait to try it?
I honestly, yeah, I'm really excited for Iron Man and Captain personally, and also Black Widow. But I think Iron Man's the one I'm most excited to play with,
Yeah.
just because I like his like flying and shooting and stuff.
Yeah, his gameplay will be pretty cool. I agree.
Right.
Yep.
But you know what? So these two figures and the trailer was shown at the D23 event last week, the premiere of the Maleficent movie. And so one thing that not only came out during that event, but also after the event, was the term that these were toy box characters. And so we're kind of thinking, the show is thinking that these two characters are only going to be toy box figures and not have any sort of playset. It also kind of makes sense since we're only seeing two individual characters there and not like a Maleficent with an additional figure, which could indicate a playset. So I don't know. I just wanted to ask this to you guys. What does that concern you? Are you worried that with Disney we're only going to get toy box figures and we're not going to get any playsets? I mean, do you think that could be a possibility?
Jason, you go first because my phone is about to die. Hold on.
Yeah, I kind of briefly spoke about this during our trailer breakdown, and I kind of feel the same way, and I've thought about it a little bit more. Obviously, if we want to jump down the dark side, I think it's probably very possible that this could mean, well, if this does mean that there is no Disney-themed play sets for 2.0, that's strange to me, and I'm like, well, if you are going to have Disney-themed play sets, why wouldn't Maleficent be one of those? But let's put that aside. I guess my way of thinking of it, I try to look at it as a vote of confidence for the toy box, and I think, again, I think all of it, our fears will be at rest if we find out about a much broader sharing platform for the toy boxes. Because at the end of the day, if you've got a play set that might had 30, 40 developers, building this specific playset story for this franchise, if there's some form of community ability to build a playset, I think you're going to get a much better experience out of what the community can build in a large-scale toy box that can cover multiple facets of that franchise, as long as they are going to give us the assets. So instead of having just one building that's Brave themed, what if in the toy box they're going to give us 50 Brave assets, so to speak? And so from that we can build quite elaborative Brave themed toy boxes, and I think ultimately we'll be better off with that sort of a world. The only thing you're really missing out on is that obviously in a fully fashioned playset like in the Pirates one, we had the great asset of the sailing ship mechanic and so on. It would just mean that they would need to give us better, higher quality assets to use in the toy box so we can make a more, I guess the best example I can give is with Minecraft, it's just blocks, right? It's just effectively 3D pixels, and so the worlds that are created can be vast and interesting and big, but at the end of the day, they're just blocks. So, but if in Infinity, they gave us a really cool, high-quality, detailed pirate ship that's Captain Hook's pirate ship or whatever, that allows us to create really creative, innovative Peter Pan playset quality style toy boxes. So you see what I'm saying? Let's not get worried about it as yet till we see how detailed toy boxes can be in 2.0 versus a playset.
Well, how advanced? I mean, the things that have been accomplished with Disney Infinity 1.0's toy boxes have just been mind-blowing, and we know the feature set is going to be more advanced and more robust, and so I think you're right. You know, if we're only going to get for 2.0, or at least initially, if we're only going to get Disney characters as toy box characters, before we freak out too much, we might want to just wait and see what's going to be possible with the toy box and what types of adventures we're going to have. And we also have to remember the toy box disc adventures that you can get, and chances are that those are going to be themed like a lot of the figures as well.
So this is a really cool topic because I did a ton of reading about this specific thing. Being that I am in the minority and I actually prefer the game sets more than the toy box, mostly because I have zero creativity and I like to just go in and play the missions. That's my thing. I like the missions a lot more and I have fun with those. So I read that and I got kind of not nervous, but I was thinking about what's going on. They finally put out in like every release that I've read that it's this new super toy box with new features and all this stuff. So I'm not even nervous because this is going to be a different experience. It's going to be like what we have now, just on steroids, I imagine, just way blown up and stronger and better. They're going to learn and improve it and everything like that. But not to mention all of my favorite characters on DI1 that we have so far. I think all of them are on toy box people only. You know, so I don't really mind. Anna and Elsa are some of my favorite. Jack, all of these ones. So really, it wouldn't really be that big of a departure for me, personally, because I'm used to that right now. So it's not going to be like, oh, there's not a Maleficent land or something like that. I think that it's going to be okay because, I mean, you have to have multiple characters in that world, right, that are strong enough to support a whole game based off of them. And some of these ones I don't think that they have. You know me, I love the princesses. You cannot make a Snow White game because unless you have each dwarf is going to be a character. That's it, right? Then you can't do a Sleeping Beauty game because there's going to be very few characters you can choose from. So I don't really think that it's going to be that big of a deal. And I think that the setup they have now is going to be fine. And like what did we do, the show one day before they announced it, the Star Wars one, I guarantee it's going to be the same when they do the next one. It's going to be a Star Wars thing, and that's how it's going to work. So I don't really mind it.
Well, and you know, one thing that you just made me think of when you talked about the Snow White, the possibility of a Snow White playset is, so it's kind of a rule at this point that anything that is a playset it's not the main story. It's not going to be a retelling of the story. It's an additional, or I don't even think it necessarily has to be in canon, but that's okay when we're talking about Pirates or Pixar properties because those are things that are still new. A lot of times there's multiple versions of those. We've had 4 different Pirates. We've had a ton of Pixar shorts that expand the existing universes. But you know, I feel like a lot of Disney fans wouldn't be as open to that type of thing if you're discussing classics. I mean, would you want kind of like a spin-off story of I mean, I guess that's kind of what Maleficent is, I guess, but that's focusing.
That's a good question. I would despise a classic film spin-off. Now, Toy Story is considered, I guess you can consider a sort of modern classic, and they did their thing, but I think that kind of goes away with the amount of sequels that they have, and being that Toy Story 3 was only released 5 years ago, so it's sort of easier to spin off. They had a Toy Story. Well, here's a good thing. If they had a Snow White spin-off, I don't think there'd be many happy people, and I don't think there would be many on any of the character classic ones. The only one I think that you could get away with on would be Alice in Wonderland, because Alice in Wonderland is such a bizarre, wide possibility of everything. That movie has no main track, so you could go off of many different ways. But any of these other ones, I think, and even that, I still think that it's going to be not good. I think that you have a really good point. To make the games a non-main story game, you're going to have to go with things that are more modern and that people are less attached to.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you agree with that, Jason? Or do you think just people would love to get a classic playset no matter what?
Oh, look, I think I think people would like that. But again, I just bring it back to until we know how detailed the toy box is, that's going to make. I mean, we know they're hiring up the best toy box artists there are, right? As far as one, but we know they're hiring them up. They're going to be doing something, and I think they're the perfect people Disney was smart enough to realize that they're the perfect people to create content that is of a playset level. And if we really break it down, Steve said it best. When you go into the playsets, a playset is effectively just a toy box with a little bit higher quality assets with, extra methods. It's got interactive characters in them as far as being able to talk to them. And ultimately you're just collecting sparks and collecting stars. Well, if they give that mechanic to the toy boxes so that when you build a toy box you can offer up a gold star or whatever, at the end of your toy box level, then all of a sudden playing the toy box is like you're playing a playset anyways. And again, if it's coming from the community, then the community will build a one-to-one true representation of what the Snow White is. And like, if we get the ability, I'm not sure whether this is a confirmed feature or not, but if they give us the ability eventually to link toy boxes to other toy boxes so that we could effectively, through the community, completely rebuild the entirety of Snow White, from like having a mine level where the dwarves are mining whatever, and right through to when the witch is pushed off the cliff. If we could recreate the classics ourselves to a standard that we're happy with as a community and upvote, that'd be an amazing experience. Imagine being able to do that as a community and go, hey guys, as a community, let's rebuild that and let's have a competition to see who can build the best toy box that tells the story of the dwarves running back to the hut to find Snow White asleep or whatever. I think, and then being able to upvote that stuff, and ultimately then maybe that's what Toy Box TV can turn into, is go, hey, this community's built this full-on 6-level Snow White experience, and we're promoting it this week as, we think this is fantastic. We're highlighting it for everybody to get on and download. Doesn't that sound like an amazing Disney Infinity future in the toy box? And who would care then if you get a developer done playset?
That's amazing. You crowdsourcing that, and kind of the cream rises to the top. So the best stuff is going to rise up to the top, and
I totally think that's where it's heading.
That's a brilliant idea. And we're also going to have some of those story elements too, like text and cinematic cameras and stuff like that. So that will.
Can you think of anything in a playset right now? Can either of you think of something in a playset that couldn't be just with recreated in a toy box form? The only thing I can think of is maybe the voice acting side of things, because the playsets had voice acting for the cutscenes.
Oh, that, and the only gameplay mechanic I can really think of is the pirate ship. Yeah. There might have been a few. Oh, and the bike from MU, but there's no reason that shouldn't have been in a toy box.
Both of those things could be brought to us in a toy box situation if they decide they unveil to us in 3.0 or 2.0. Here's our on-water mechanic. Now here's the vehicles that will work on surface water tiles and stuff like that. I can't think of anything that, with time, can't be made available to the toy box artists.
Yeah. Latin Soul in the chat room said that the Kingdom Hearts series did do a pretty good job of the treatment of the classics. So I guess, and that's a good point, because those are widely beloved games and they focused a lot on classic movies. But I think Jason and Steve, you guys might have just hit the nail on what the solution could be, is just, again, making the tool set a lot more advanced so the fans could create those stories for the fans.
Absolutely. And doesn't that make sense, technical sense? It makes more sense rather than all the developers putting in, thousands of hours into a playset that a lot of people will, play. But if they put that same thousands of hours in just developing higher quality, more robust, more interesting assets, then that will translate many more times over by what the community does with it. I think that makes a lot of sense, and maybe that's where they're kind of heading, because at the moment, as far as we know, there's only one playset in 2.0, and that's the Avengers playset. Well, there's no confirmation of anything else as yet.
I mean, there's leaks and rumors, but yeah, until it's actually official, it's still just a rumor.
I guess the point is, I'm saying it sounds like this particular playset is a much bigger playset than what we've had in the past. A bigger single experience, maybe longer. I don't know, but that seems to be the vibe I seem to be getting. Is that it's a bigger playset compared to the playsets that we got in 1.0.
Yeah. Well, and it's obvious that they're making a much larger investment in the toy box this time around. That's why half of the Marvel introduction announcement was focused on the toy box, and it's the proof is in the pudding, and the numbers showed that the majority of the time was spent in toy box, and it's kind of an interesting thing because that's kind of a chicken and egg thing. The playset has a definitive start and finish. The toy box, no pun intended, but can be infinite, and you can just continue to play it. And so, your chances are you're not going to, every time you play Disney Infinity, play the same playset. You're going to want to get in there and build and create stuff. So it's good that they're focusing a lot of energy on the toy box this time around. Yeah, Jason, hopefully that also they're kind of aware and planning that the community is going to just grow, and not just because the user base is growing, but the functionality of sharing and creating these collaborative environments that people can share toy boxes, and it's not just the top 5 that are shown off each week.
Well, also, but the fact that they're doing it like this really stimulates the growth of the game throughout the time period that it's there, because if you get a new one every single year, how often do people talk about Titanfall anymore besides you? It was about a month or 2, and then that was pretty much it. People play it, they master it, they finish it, and then it's, they'll do online play and stuff like that, and that's about it. The idea that the toy box is, like you said, pun great, is that it's infinite, and the fact that they release characters throughout the year and everything like that, I think keeps it fresh and it keeps it going, and it's something that you can always control, and it's always different, and it's up to you. And the fact is that you can always download one of Steve's toy boxes and play it, or one of these other people's, and it's always changing. So I would assume that they're putting a majority of their time and effort into that specific thing, just because that's kind of the driving factor behind the growth idea. And I think it's great, being that most of the people on here talk about the toy box. So.
Right. That definitely is a. But then I completely agree with you, Steve. But they are also throwing a lot of weight behind at least the Marvel piece of the playset too, having actual Marvel writers writing the story for at least the Avengers playset. We're not sure about others, and that's a pretty big statement too. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's maybe they're just having a two-pronged approach where they're hitting both sides of it just as hard. Where it kind of seems like they focus more on the playset side of things in the first one, although Toy Box was crazy cool and there's a lot that you could accomplish simply because a lot of it had never been done before. It was still more limiting than I think a lot of people, and that's always the case, right? I mean, you always have limitations, and you have to work with that, and that can be time.
And the play sets are still the foot in the door, because you can't really enjoy the toy box if you don't have an internet connection, and there's still a ton of people that'll be buying this game that won't have it connected to the internet, and the play set's really only their available option to use the figures that they've that they've purchased. They can still create toy boxes, but they're not really going to be able to tap into that rich community-created content stuff if they're not connected online for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, they're not Minecraft yet. They're not known for, the toy box hasn't reached that status yet where like people are blown away by, it's not viral, so to speak. So they still need that traditional game to sort of, get the interest out of the vast majority of people, I imagine. But I still think that they are smart enough to realize that I think that at some point it will shift towards the toy box and the play sets will be downplayed a little bit less.
Yeah. I don't know. It's cool. Lots of fun things coming our way no matter what. Whether you're a fan of the playset or the toy boxes, you're going to be happy with 2.0. So the only other kind of nugget of information that really came up from the gameplay video, and if you haven't seen it yet, you could check out. Jason and I did a breakdown of the Maleficent and Merida trailer, and you can find that. But Steve C, I know this made you and Pirate very happy, just seeing this icon or this showing up in the background, kind of faintly.
Oh yeah.
So this confirms a Gravity Falls something. If only a Sky Dome, but where there's a Sky Dome, there's a texture disc. But hopefully this could mean something more, huh? I mean, hopefully it could be a figure or
gotta be a figure.
Playset.
I see. This is one that I think you could make a really great playset off of. Not just because I love the show, but because it has all the things that you need to do a playset. You can do a spin-off side story that the entire show is based off of a new sort of monster or crazy thing happening each week. It's perfect for it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of main characters. If you want 3 figures, there are 3 right off the top that you could do that would be stellar. There's probably 8 that would be really, really great. They look good. It's all those things. It's a newer show. It's a popular show. And I think that it's really, really interesting. I think that it is tailor-made for its own standalone game and at least 3 characters, without question.
Well, and I know I'm it's no secret that I don't know the show, but it's widely popular to a wide range of I don't know, age groups, right? I mean, it's not just a kids show; it's entertaining for all, and so
it's
the fans are wide.
Yeah, it's Phineas and Ferb style sort of humor. I love it because a lot of the jokes are funny and. My daughter, who's 7, she doesn't really get the sarcasm in a lot of the jokes, but she loves it because the story is good, easy to understand, the characters are adorable, and she gets a majority of the jokes that are aimed at that group. But then the other ones are just more sarcastic, and you have to understand sarcasm and one-line humor and stuff like that, which is what Phineas and Ferb does too. Not in like an adult fashion, but in a way that you wouldn't understand heavy-handed sarcasm. A little kid doesn't get it. So it's completely open, but... Yeah.
Well, I even think didn't you do a when we were doing our what if playsets? Didn't you even do one of these as Gravity Falls as one of your what if playsets?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did, and Steve totally agreed.
Well, when you guys agree on something, that makes me nervous. So I don't know if no, I'm just kidding. You guys aren't the only one though. This picture was actually sent to me today of a fan. And I would assume these might be 2 of the characters that you were saying would make a good Gravity Falls characters. So this was made by D Animator on the Infinity Fans Forum, and so he made this what a Gravity Falls base and playset piece would be. What's that thing what is that playset piece? It looks like some sort of
That's the little logo. That's the little guy. He's a magic guy, and he kind of goes back. He's like a triangle with an eye in his chest, and he's kind of a bad guy, but you don't really know, and it's kind of there. So there's a lot of different bad guys in the show that kind of come and go, but that would be spectacular. That's Mabel, who's one of the most adorable characters of all time, and Dipper, and I think a Grunkle Stan or a Seuss would be great as a third one, but I think it's phenomenal. Or Little Gideon, he's the villain, and he's a little short guy, so I think it would be great.
I even really dig the Infinity logo there. It looks like it's kind of the Gravity Falls area. Yeah. It looks like trees there or whatever. So cool. Well, the animator, good work on that. And you know what? Who knows? Hopefully one day we'll get some figures from Gravity Falls, and that can make you, Steve, and the other pirate Steve happy. I guess he's the other Steve, not the other pirate Steve. There's only one of those. And the chat room seems to like those drawings of figures as well. So good work. Well, gentlemen, that's going to pretty much wrap up the show this week. That is all of our news items and the rumors of the week. And you know what? Next week, I'm sure there's going to be lots to talk about. Stay tuned. Watch our Twitter at Disney Infina TV. We will be posting when we're going to be having shows. We might have more than one. We are not going to have a normal podcast on Monday evening because I will be getting ready to go to travel that day. But we will be doing some stuff throughout the week, and we'll probably be doing more than one thing. And we will release a podcast, but it will probably be after the fact, or after actually getting some hands-on time with the game. So just keep an eye out for that stuff next week. We hope you enjoyed the show. Like we said earlier at the top of the show, if you want to chat and watch us live, you can do that every week, DisneyInfinity.tv. That's where all the chat is and the video. If you like the audio version or you prefer to listen to us, you can do that on either iTunes or Stitcher Radio, which is device agnostic, so you can listen to us on your Windows mobile or your Android phone there. Please subscribe to us on YouTube if you like our video content. That is youtube.com/DisneyInfinityTV. Gentlemen, this was a good show. Steve C., it was so great having you back on the show and getting to talk with you again. I know I missed you. It looks like the chat room and all the listeners out there missed you as well. So
I know that
go ahead and tell us where.
I like Tortoises definitely missed me. He didn't say anything towards the end, but he was a great guy.
Oh, that is hilarious. I like Tortoises. Yeah, he's all right, I guess. I don't know. He can,
Way
he
better
can get a little bit out of hand in the chat.
Way better than his counterpart. I like Turtles.
Yeah, agreed with that. So tell us, other than just being our friends and being a regular on the show, or now being a regular again, you were a regular for a long time, and then you had a little bit of a hiatus. Where can people find you? You are also on 2 other podcasts, right?
No, now I'm just here, baby. This is it. I dedicate my time now between, semi-annual appearances on this show. So if you want to find me, which I know nobody out there does, just watch every single episode of this show, and once every fiscal year I'll show up.
No, that's the old Steve C. You are back in action. Now I'm gonna be bugging you every episode. Well, until you're on next again, you can always go back and find some old shows where Steve C. Was a participant. There's some shows, there's some golden nuggets, such as him singing multiple versions of multiple theme songs, not only the DuckTales, but also I think you might have even narrated once or twice the entirety of New Groove. So.
I just had a friend watch the one of the other ones, so you know her, Sarah. Hopefully we'll get her in a little while. But she watched the your thing just last week, and she was cracking up at the 12 Days of Christmas. And I completely forgot that we had really done that. And then her and Pirate started cracking up because how ridiculous I sound when I'm singing the DuckTales part and my voice cracked. So I'm gonna ask that you remove the video altogether because I forgot I looked that ridiculous. So.
Oh! You said you want us to feature it on our front page.
No.
That we can do.
No, I want it banned. I want YouTube to take it down.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm nowhere anymore. I'm just here. So thanks for letting me on.
Awesome.
Jason, it's good to see you, buddy. You're wearing a sweater today. I'm very confused about the climate on the other side of the planet because usually when it's hot here, it's cold there. But I can't imagine you wearing a sweater.
It's been cold. It's been cold.
That's so weird. I have no idea what's going on.
You're not only in the future. Yeah, you're like in the future and literally upside down. So it's like your world's all mixed up compared to ours. Yeah. Not to say we're better, we're just different. Well, Steve, you know you are always welcome here anytime. You're always with us in spirit at the very least. So until next time, we thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
Everyone will be looking forward to that as well. And Jason, as always, my favorite Aussie. Good job tonight, and it was a good show. Be on the lookout because Jason and I, and maybe a few others, are going to be starting a new show this week. So it's not going to be live, but we will be posting that. Jason, do you just want to plug that real quick?
Yeah, so we're starting a new podcast called Playset Potential Spoilercast for Disney movies coming up, and we're going to record our first episode sometime this week, and we're going to be doing Maleficent. And the idea is an opportunity for us to first to basically give our review of the film, of what we thought about it, but with the infinity twist that we want to talk about what we think the potential of that movie would be in Disney Infinity. Talk about things like who we think would be the best character to become a figure, and what weapons or vehicles we'd like to put on power discs, and what area of the story we would like to explore more in a full blown playset story. So it should be really fun for us to not only talk about the movies, it'll be full spoilers, so we'll put that at the top of the show that it will be spoiler cast. We won't be holding anything back, because I feel we need to discuss every element of the film to appropriately discuss how we would implement that franchise into a Disney Infinity game. So I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and it is going to include. We used to do this a lot on the show before we kind of restructured our format a little bit, and so we're definitely going to have Steve C doing some of those with us and Pirate. The only caveat: those shows are only going to be released when Disney movies are released. You can't really have a spoiler cast for something that is 30 or 40 years old. So that's why we're doing Maleficent. But this summer we're going to have a few more, so make sure you check those out. And it will be on the same RSS feed, so if you're subscribed to us on any of our channels, you will get it. So, but look out for that this week. All right, gentlemen. Well, again, this was great. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a lot of fun. And everyone in the chat, thank you as always, for joining us and chatting with us and giving us a hard time. We love it. We love looking in the chat and then just cracking up and seeing what's all the fun conversation there. So thank you all again. Sorry there's so many names. Can't really say them all tonight, but we did see each and every one of you, so thank you again. We hope you enjoyed the show, and until next time, we hope your week is filled with infinite possibilities. And we're out. This is the after show. So, Steve, everyone is like 12 days of Christmas.
Sarah
and people are begging us that
and sending me screen prints of all of us doing this, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I should never have told you that this was still on YouTube.
That's awesome. Oh, it's classic. It's a classic. Well, for those that are still watching us, we actually, in a couple weeks, we're going to have a new guest host. Steve C is bringing someone new to the show. Really excited to have her come and be a part of the show. So be on the lookout for that as well. Steve, you're going to Disney World tomorrow, aren't you?
You bet I am. So I'm doing that.
Hate you.
Well, wait, why do you hate me? You already did this. I'm following your footsteps. There was no hostility when you went.
That's true. I'm just jealous. You're right. I know. I'm excited for you, and you're going to have a good time. You even asked me for advice, and so for that, I was honored.
I did. I value your advice very much. Mostly because you were just there doing the exact same trip that I was doing, so I would like to know what to do.
Literally, like the same days, and we even broke it up the same way. I did it in a different order. For certain reasons, I would have preferred to do it in the order that you're going, but I had to put Magic Kingdom first as opposed to last. And I would have preferred it been last, but due to family stuff, we had to do it first. So you're definitely doing it right.
Okay, good. Well,
so
sweet. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thanks again for listening. I'm going to go ahead and end the after show, and we will see you sometime next week. Not sure when. So thanks for joining us again.